Welcome to Martial Arts Explorer, exploring practical technique as revealed in classical martial arts of all styles. I'm Scott Combs. We're looking for stories from viewers who have used non-combative techniques to avoid an assault. Now, even if you think your story is silly or uninteresting, we'd like to see it. We'll protect your identity, of course. Please, send your stories to explorer@martialartsexplorer.tv. Now, a correction is in order regarding a statement I made in Martial Arts Explorer V2 P37. I made reference to the chagrin felt by my senior master instructor, Chris Thomas, when approached at a seminar and questioned about Martial Arts Explorer. I misunderstood Master Thomas's telling of the story, and I want to thank Dan from my old stomping grounds, New Jersey, for correcting me. Dan, you really are a devoted viewer. Here's the story. Dan approached Master Thomas at a seminar to tell him he'd seen the episodes Master Thomas had taught and was a faithful viewer of the podcast. Apparently, there was a 10-minute discussion about Martial Arts Explorer in general, and Michael and myself in particular. So now I'm curious. Paranoid, maybe. Exactly what did Master Thomas tell you about us, Dan? We hope it was all flattering and positive, but if he told you the truth, I don't know what I'll do, but it'll be something. Something good. This time, Michael's looking at the opening sequence of Nihonchi Shodan.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for joining us. We're going to take another look at a familiar form for us, Nihonchi. We do this a lot because there's so many moves from it, but it's also one of our first forms. We practice a lot, and it appears in so many other styles. What you're looking at, hands together and down. Now, it doesn't matter if it's open, if it's a closed fist, if it's two hands pushing in this way. It doesn't really matter. You're looking at this sequence here, all right, reaching out and turning in. We'll look at a couple Chinese moves, actually, and I actually know the Chinese names for a couple of these anyways. Tom's going to jump in and join me. And we're going to look at white crane nods its head, twists its neck, and covers its wings, are the names usually used with this. What's going to happen is these are actually finger locks, and you can use them against the whole hand or separate fingers. And I'm going to start you off just showing you the basic idea. What you're going to do is when you try and grab on the fingers, pull the pinky behind if you can. All right, this adds a little stretch in here and makes it hurt a lot faster, a lot quicker, and that's what you want. Now you're going to grip right onto these knuckles here, creating your base. Now you don't want to get below and cover them, you're protecting the joints. You want to stay right on them or above them. And as you're going to go down and in towards the body, you're going to start to get a response here. The body's going to start to move. Now I'm also using two-way motion on this. I'm not just pushing and I'm not pulling. I'm twisting my hand in a nice small circle and using two directions at once to cause this pain. So that's part one, all right? That's white crane nods his head. Now we're going to twist his neck, which is just like it sounds, we're going to turn. Now this motion is this way, against the pinky pulling backwards. So once I activate the first, I start activating the second. That starts a lot more pain. Now that's a very important part of this because some people with very flexible fingers, if your hands go way back, the first part doesn't hurt. But usually by adding in the compound motion, the two directions at once, now it starts to hurt. So it's down and then it's over and the body starts to react. Now we're going to do covers its wing, which we're going to tip it towards the body, and I'm going to scoot in from behind, grab the fingers. Now if we turn the other way, as you can see from this side now, I start my motion, I'm going to reach in and through and start to cover this way. That's to cover the wing, and now I lock back. Now I have an escort position, whereas I roll this towards the body so the hand turns sideways and now rolls in this way, and there I cover this and I lock this into place. Now I can even go ahead and switch hands, and I still have a free hand if I want. But you gotta be careful when you switch. If you lose it, someone's gonna escape real quick. So you gotta be careful when making those easy switches. Another point to remember, as I'm reaching in, if I run my bicep in the back of his arm, it gets hard to reach. A lot of times what I need to do is put his arm into my armpit so I can reach past. Now I can reach him with much longer arms. I have a lot longer reach if I go all the way through, cover, twist, and pull. All right, to show us a little more dynamic now, if someone starts to reach in here, this is an initial confrontation. He's starting here. We're not into a ballistic situation yet. He reaches in. We're going to do a standard inside counter. We bring this across, use the forearm, start our block, and naturally my hand sort of ends up behind his, and that's great because even with your eyes closed, even in the dark, you can always clap your hands. So if I do this, my hand's behind his, I'm just going to clap my hands. I end up right where I want to be. From here, pinch the fingers in, start to cover, squeeze in, drop down, and over, all right? Do that nice and quick and easy. Watch your partner to respond. Step in, drop in nice and deep, cover and roll in, and from here, I can direct him, sir, walk, walk, and we can start to move, or I can make him kneel down, wherever the case might be from there. Now, because so often on this technique, I hear this complaint that they go to use it on a friend or somebody, and this one doesn't work. Well, often that's because you lose surprise. If I tell Tom, hey, I'm gonna try a finger lock on you, hold your hand out for me. All right, you go to do this, and every person you know is now gonna lock up their wrist, their hand, and their fingers, and if I grab on this and he locks it nice and straight, I can't bend down, or else I really have to crank it, and if I'm stronger, I might get it. If you tell someone ahead of time what you're gonna do, it will not work. Almost any move can be defeated by doing that. Now, there's always ways around stuff. If I get into here and he starts really locking this up and I can't do it, if I reach in and punch him in the ribs and then come down and over, well, technique changes real fast. You can kick to the shins, you can stomp on the foot, you can just distract somebody. A lot of times I talk about just taking your hands, running them across their eyes. People don't like stuff in front of their face. If you run it right across, hands right in front of their face, they're gonna react, they're gonna forget about their wrists and their fingers, and all of a sudden they're gonna be weaker. Distract them, then try it if you're having a little bit of problems with it. But remember to be a good partner. Tell them what hurts and tell them what doesn't. Remember, a lot of times you're the training coach over here. You know what works and what doesn't, and you have to tell your partner so they can get it right. It's a pretty easy technique, but be careful of your partner's fingers when you start working on this. All right, we're gonna grab the class, let them give it a try. Thanks, Tom. All right, guys, when you're looking at Nahanchi Shodan, the opening sequence, hands together and down, reaching out, grab, and pull across. Now we're gonna use a finger lock for this. We're gonna use white crane Knots' head. Remember, when you start your grab, you reach and bring those fingers behind. And we're gonna start with a block. You can reach out and just grab, but it's easier to miss. So if someone's pushing at you, what do? We inside counter like normal. My hand ends up behind his hand. That's easy, touch my own hand, I'll catch his fingers. Lock him down, drop him in, and now we're gonna rotate across. Make sure you turn in towards the pinky, coming across the body this way, and that's gonna start it here. Now, if you were to start to flare and move, I might have to track this a little bit. So if his elbow comes up, I turn this way. If his elbow drops down, I turn this way. You follow them with their hand to move them, keep applying the same direction no matter where they're moving. Once you get this position, turn it over, scoop underneath, coming nice and deep. Now remember, his elbow should go back through your armpit. Reach over and start your cover, and if you want, you can go ahead and try and switch out. Keep rolling back and in so that you can go ahead and open doors and protect yourself and things like that. Now, as far as this following the form, actually that's backwards for me. If we're coming in this way, moving here, I'm gonna use this hand just so it makes a little more sense. 1, 2, my hand turns the other way. My hands rotate down, here's down. The next move is over, that's this direction. Now I go into the forearm strike. All right, I'm almost coming back and touching my elbow. It's that motion here. The idea is I want to touch my elbow if I can, and as I do that, I come to this move here. All right, go ahead and give it a try, guys. Flat of your hand with the web of your thumb, pulling the thumb behind, and you almost have it one-handed. This grab is to catch it, and then after that, you almost only need the one hand. You can keep this hand here, but you're gonna use this one to do the lock. Okay, so try again. Catch, trap, there you go. Good, now look at the response you get, very nice, okay? Then all it is follow through and cover it up underneath. Make sure you use two-way direction, so when you're doing this, what you wanna do is when you grab in, pull and push. Make a small circle with your hand as you drop. Okay. There you go. You feeling it all? Not much. Okay, let me try. You look pretty flexible. Oh yeah, you're real flexible. Look at that. Pull all the way back. So when I come into here, there's no resistance. There's nothing in there, all right? So that's probably about as far as it normally go, and that doesn't hurt at all, does it?
It does, but
just barely, okay? So remember the next part now is that twist. Oh, and there's reaction, okay? So that's good to remember. If you get someone flexible, it's 1 and then 2 right away, and that's gonna start it up for you. There you go, good. Down, over, okay. Now start to step through when you do that. Now turn it this way and pull it back. Yep. Here, when you're at this one, turn your hand over this direction if you can. So when you, okay, it's gonna depend when you switch your hands out, but as you're in one, come in this direction and keep his pinky pulled back and do it that way. There you go. Now you have a lot stronger grip. He's not going to pop through your finger and your thumb. Okay.
Yep.
Does it feel like it's still working? Okay, good guys. Now you want to remember as you do this, it takes a little bit of control and technique, it takes some practice to get used to it, then you also have to be careful. A good friend of ours, Officer Travis, actually used this in a situation. As he did it, the guy's fingers broke and the lock no longer works. So be careful how much pressure you apply and get to that magical point where you have as much pain as they can take, but you're not actually breaking anybody's fingers when you do this. Now, everybody's fingers are probably getting a little sore, and I'm just going to show on Jordan here, and everybody can watch. When your hands get really sore, something you can do. One, you can smack and rub joints, so you can always come in this way and roll them out and massage here. But you also take your first two fingers here, grab on each side of the knuckles and pull forward and then sort of snap off the tips. And that just sort of helps stretch everything out, realign everything, gets the meridians moving, stuff like that, and generally helps loosen things back up because you'll get pretty sore when you do this, so don't be afraid to take your partner, smack a little bit, rub some of these joints, rub them out a little bit, get some circulation back in there. It's a good thing to do for your partners. Good job, guys. Thanks for joining us. Back to Scott.
Remember to use caution if you want to try this at home. You want to make the technique work, but you don't want to injure your friend. Now, a quick double tap is the signal to ease up on the pressure. Also, make sure to massage each other's fingers, wrists, and forearms after you practice. It really does help reduce the pain and is a very nice thing to do for a partner who let you put them in pain so you could learn a new technique. We're looking for your stories. Think of a time when you used non-combative techniques to avoid an assault. Even if you think your story is silly or uninteresting, we'd still like to see it. We'll protect your identity. Please send your story to explorer@martialartsexplorer.tv. For Martial Arts Explorer and Michael Kleinepier, I'm Scott Combs.